I'm ready.
I think
Hey, there we are.
Yeah, we are.
Show live at QB Show Live. Pound QB Show hashtag. And every time I think of hashtag, though, I think of Jesse Bryant and T-Sheets I forget. Yeah, that was so funny. Who was? She works for T-Sheets now. I always forget her name. Why?
Oh, I always think of Justin
You guys
Timberlake.
know.
I always think of
Right,
his name?
because of Jimmy Fallon. Maybe that's who started it.
Hashtag.
I thought it was really funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
So welcome to QB Show Live, and my name's Woody. I'm a product specialist of Intuit, and anything I say or my beliefs or opinions don't necessarily reflect those of Intuit. Intuit's not affiliated with the show. And then, of course, we have Don Brolin and Stacey Kildall. We're all on this week, which is really cool. It's been like 5.5 years, so that's cool. I'm in Tucson now, and Don, how are you doing? You're there. It's the 15th. Why are you even on the show? It's September 15th. Isn't that like Business Return Extension Day or something?
Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's just corporate tax returns and partnerships, but whatever. Email your CPA today. Not a good idea.
Why?
Yeah.
I emailed my CPA today. He was
Well,
fine with it.
well, then he must not be busy.
He's busy. He just wasn't pissed about it. He was okay. He was like, hey, I'm a little busy. Sorry it took me so long to get back with you, but he wasn't.
Throwing that out there.
Corporate return.
He wasn't angry. Maybe that's
I wonder
just...
I wonder how busy Bryce was today. You have to contact him in a while. I haven't talked to him in a while. I didn't want to email him though.
I
And,
can text him. We can just text him and ask him. Say, how busy were you?
Let's do that. That'll be research project number one for tonight. But Don, when Stacey sent out that email and you were on it, I wrote an email to send that said, hey, I know it's the 15th. I think you need one more email, and I was about to send it, but I didn't. I deleted it.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't get pissed. I'm just saying that it's just busy. That's all I'm saying. Whatever.
Anyway.
Don't ask me questions.
I love messing with you just a little.
Don't ask me questions today.
We don't have any to ask.
That's good.
We just have
I know. I see it talk. Like I'm not even on it.
Hey, it's impressive you're doing all that hard work on the 15th. This is a tough day. And then you got one in 1 month too. But this
Correct.
one's probably harder. Harder is my guess. I don't know. You know more than me. But. So, Don, you're knee deep in the corporate tax returns and keeping all those companies afloat basically and compliant. And then Stacey, how are you? Kat, well, how are you doing there?
Kat, I'm doing quite well. I don't know what I did today. I have to think about what I did. Oh, I went out to a client's, and here she is.
Nice.
Yeah,
you visited a client.
Yes,
That's
it's my very first client. I still go out there every 2 weeks. So I did that, and then I came back home, and I feel like I did some more work, but I don't know what it was. Yeah. Oh, I posted some stuff for Apposaurus Rex.
Nice.
And I got my inbox to like inbox 4.
Hey, that's really good.
Talked to some. Oh, I know what it was. There were 3 prospects that prospective clients that I talked to. So I did that, and one of them just invited me as the accountant user to his QuickBooks file. So.
That's cool.
Yeah,
hey, by the
Stacey.
way, speaking of QBO and QBOA, there was intermittent issues today. I think people probably.
Wait, Bryce just texted
Bryce
me back and said that he's busy, yes, but not with 9/15 deadlines. Financial statement audit mostly is what he said.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
So
probably
just
drinking
like
black
that
coffee.
we can find out.
Yeah. Hey, the QBO was down intermittently today, or you could log in, but just like pages would be blank. I don't know if you noticed that you weren't alone. I believe it's been resolved, but you know how I resolved it because I was actually demoing QBO when that happened.
I don't.
I signed in to the Windows version of Don's new favorite app, the Windows app, and Don likes the Mac app. I signed into the QBO Windows app, and I had no issues at all.
Nice.
And I mean, it's still linked to the web, but maybe because it's an installed utility or app, maybe that's why it worked. So that was really cool. So I was encouraging people with the Windows app.
That's pretty cool.
Today. Yeah.
I don't think I would have thought about that. That is a really great idea.
Yeah. And I'm actually, we'll do sponsors in a sec. Let me quickly share out if that's all right.
Yeah.
I wanted to show a couple things, and I know we have actually Max, and I don't know his last name. I think it starts with a P, but he's
Max
from
Walsh.
Practice Ignition. Sorry, Max Walsh. Right. Sorry. No, the
Max,
name of the app
the
starts
P
with a
is
P,
silent.
not his last name.
Yeah, but the
That's awesome. He is
I'm
silent.
funny. I'm a
That's
funny
good.
girl.
That is very good.
Sometimes I'm funny.
Max Walsh, Practice Ignition. So we're excited about that. It's basically a practice management kind of tool for the firm. So we're going to look at that, and he'll be on. So I wanted to mention a few things. Here is the QuickBooks Mac and Windows app, quickbooks.intuit.com/apps. That's the best way to find it. For weeks I've been saying, I'll just Google it and just click, a link. You'll eventually get to it. But quickbooks.intuit.com/apps. And you can download either one. And Don already demoed the Mac one, and we've already done the Windows app. But that was working great today. I also wanted to note, and I did put on Twitter, that I did update this QBO US by feature SKU thing. So, like, it has, all the feature sets across the 3 different levels of QuickBooks Online. And I broke it down by general, attach, users, company operations or activities, class location, product services. So, this stuff. So you can tell if one has one or the other. Obviously, Plus has yes in every single column. Then you have Essentials, and then Simple Starts is the column on the furthest left, next to the features. But there's also reports. You can go over here and see what reports are in. If you need a particular report, you can do that too. So feel free to leverage that. If you check my feed on Twitter, @QBPlay, I did post that, I think Friday. And the other thing I did find out is that purging, how your clients, Stacey, is it all right if I just keep going with this? Or?
Yeah, you roll with it.
Probably because of the sweet tea I had, so I'm all jazzed up.
You
right.
go
I know
for
Don's
it.
I know Don's doing a corporate turn right now, so I just want to let her do that.
I'm not.
So,
I'm not
you know when
at all. I'm sending an email. Perfectly.
Do you know when you start a sub for your client, or they do, and then they go through that first wizard, which creates a chart of accounts, even though you don't want a chart of accounts in that file yet?
Yes.
And you're like, and then you're like, I'll make them inactive. I found a better way. I mean, there's no data in the file yet, right? So it's just a chart of accounts you don't want.
Yeah.
If you go to, it's that purge company data that we've known how to do. But what I love is if I go back, and I think I can use this file, you go to your homepage, and you backspace homepage, and then you do purge company. And then
I knew that. Yeah, I didn't know if it worked.
Yeah. Well, here, when you purge the company, it's going to ask you, because I already purged this one, so it might be like, we're not
What's the
going to be able to
URL
delete it.
again?
It's just you just add purge purge company to the after the app /. So
Okay.
typically, when you're on the homepage, it'll say qbo.intuit.com/ and it might have your cluster. It doesn't have in mine. I think I'm on cluster 31, but for some reason I can't see the cluster. But sometimes you'll see C28 or C32 or C80. If you just, then you have the app, and then it says / homepage. Just put your cursor in there so it's blinking, and backspace out homepage and type purge company, and then it brings you up. Are you sure you want to wipe your QuickBooks Online company?
You're
now
like,
this
yes,
is key
please.
Right, because you can do it during the first 60 days, or that your books file with QBOA. But this is a client file because they have like 30 or 40 chart of accounts, and I don't want to use that. So here's a way. Now it's the next window that blew my mind, because I was doing this video. I didn't know that it actually did this next window you're going to see. I didn't know it until I got to it, because someone asked me, hey, do you have a video on purge company, and then how you go, import chart of accounts if they want to start over? And I'm like, no. So I was like, all right, I'll try it.
No.
And so I clicked OK, and it's this next page. Check what it says. You can choose the business type. Then it says create accounts based on industry. Create an empty chart of accounts. Dude. And then so this is like in desktop when you go through the easy setup wizard and choose what is that? No, what was it called? No something other none. None. Remember?
Yep.
Okay.
You know what?
So,
I have QuickBooks right over here. I just fired up an old computer right behind me. You guys
2004.
can't see it, but I've got an old computer with 2004 on it. We could maybe show you that in a little bit. It's possible.
And by the way, Stacy and I figured out that you can upgrade directly from 04 to 16 without going an intermediary year.
Yeah, you can.
You can try it. I'm not saying it's always going to work for you, but it worked for me.
Yep.
All right, so wipe data, and you just let it do its thing. And you can't undo this, though. Important. But you don't want to. There's no data in it. It's just a chart of accounts that QBO created because my client went in, they put in their credit card, and unfortunately they got a pop-up, but they didn't know how to back out of the, hey, here's where the magic happens, right? So they have all this 30 or 40 chart of accounts, and you might use some of them, but you got to make an active like 15 or 20 of them. It's frustrating.
Right.
So now when I go to my chart of accounts, there should only be 2 there. Retained earnings and something else. Yeah, dude, that is sweet. Now you can import your chart of accounts as you do, right? Import data, and then you download the sample and use that and copy paste your thing in, and that's about it. I mean, when I saw that, she was thinking, for a customer, they just want to know how to wipe it out. I was thinking that wizard that you have to go through it. It feels like it's forcing you to go through, and it automatically creates a chart of accounts for you that you don't want. If your client did that or a staff did it, don't worry. Just purge the company and choose the option to get rid of the chart of accounts. And then you'll have no chart of accounts. And it's basically a do-over.
I love it.
Mulligan. But it just was really impactful. I was like, oh man, I gotta show people this. They're gonna want to know.
They are gonna want to know.
So I tweeted it, but nobody really cared.
No, I care. I'm just saying.
So that's that, and that's really all I had to share. Let's go through some sponsors, unless you guys had something you wanted to talk about.
No, that is it's pretty awesome, and I think it's a lot of people. I've never used it. I knew that you could do it, but I don't think I've ever used it.
Well, it took me a while, and then I realized I was putting instead of homepage, I was doing purge data, but it's not. It's purge company. Purge data brings up an error.
Oh.
So you got to choose purge company. Now, we've been training an Intuit Academy course for a while. I just never really played around with it. But I think the more impactful thing is the fact that you can have a blank chart of accounts if you want. Start the sub, purge the data, it's blank. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Sponsors.
Sponsors. Avalera. Sales tax.
Yes.
They make sales
tax
less taxing.
Avalera.com. But not just that. They can, with the Affordable Care Act and the 1094 and 1095C forms, QuickBooks Payroll is not going to produce those forms.
No.
So you have to go get the forms, at the IRS site or whatever. But Avalera actually will.
Yes, it
support
will.
those forms.
And they're sort of awesome.
That is awesome.
I like them.
So I wanted to throw that out there.
T-Sheets.
T-Sheets.com, yep.
Brulin, Dawn, you use T-Sheets, yeah?
Booking some time right now, actually. My T-Sheets.
In T-Sheets? In your phone or on the web?
I'm on the computer right now because I'm sitting here, but usually I do it on the phone.
Do you ever log in via Twitter? Did you? Everybody know that you can clock in via? There's a cat. You can log in via Twitter, which I think is sort of awesome. You can text in. You can clock in via text. Here, kitty.
Hey, another thing, a good plug for T-Sheets that I realized that they will solve for today, because another announcement. I'm just full of announcements tonight. Sorry, but starting May, I think May 1st. I think we've talked about this before. The QuickBooks Sync Manager is going away.
Yes.
So that was
there's
the
no
only
problems
way.
with that thing. It works perfectly all the time.
Well, it's good. It's good for the most part that it's going away, except for the one caveat, which is the only way the customer job info goes from IOP to a QuickBooks desktop file is using that Sync Manager export integration option. So there's no way to send that data from IOP anymore. You have to enter it after the fact, at least for now, to a desktop file.
Right.
And class tracking is only at the employee level, so that's not really a viable option, I think, to
right.
job costing. So even though in IOP I can tag the customer job, there's no way to send it over. So what I like about, then I was thinking, so this person had enterprise, and they also had, no, was that the scenario? Anyway, someone could have T-sheets, right, and tag in the customer job and send it over to your file.
Okay.
For payroll. That's what I was thinking. That's one way to get it over there. Not for payroll. Where would it go in? The weekly timesheet, I guess.
Right. Wait, we got to finish because Max just jumped on. So let's finish.
Oh, good.
Fundera,
Yeah.
which is awesome and amazing. And I just had a conversation with one of my clients who didn't bother to tell me that he was, and normally he tells me everything, like everything. He didn't bother to mention that he was trying to get a loan, and he already closed on it. And I said, you know, if we had gone through my Fundera link, I could have gotten you 1% back to throw at the principal. And he said, damn, the one time I go do something and don't ask you about it, this is what happens. So I said, don't worry, maybe we can go and use that and refinance down the road. So love Fundera.
Awesome.
They're amazing. Skyline Cloud Services, going to use them tomorrow. I'm just going to say this. I have a client who, Max, hold on, we'll get to you in 1 second, but I got to ask Woody this question. So client converted to QBO. All of, you know how we verify the numbers, right? We take a look at the reports, accrual-based, all dates, yeah? To make sure that the numbers match. All the numbers are dead on. No numbers, no reports match if you look at a cash basis. None. Not one. And I've never had that happen. Not one report.
Is it conversion?
Yeah. Have you ever seen that?
Yes. I think I've seen that a couple times.
You have. All right. We'll talk about it maybe off the show.
Also, forget what I said about the T-sheets and the payroll. I don't think that's going to work. I think I'm thinking of T-sheets going to desktop. But desktop, you can already assign customer jobs.
All right, we'll disregard that. But anyway, client Skyline, I'm going to be opening up this guy's desktop file so that I can do some comparison. And I'm going to be doing it in Skyline because I run a Mac. And
oh, wait, no, I have heard the cash basis report's not
but the accrual base all do.
No, I know, but the cash basis, actually, it's more correct in QBO. It has to do with inventory and a few other things.
He's got no inventory.
I have no, there's a list of things as to why. I remember, you know Micah? You remember Micah Sampson?
Yeah.
So he sent me a bunch of stuff on that, and so I'll try to find it and send it.
See if you can find that, because I got to look at his stuff tonight or tomorrow morning and get back with him.
His contention is the QBO will be more accurate.
All right, fair enough. But anyway, I'm going to be looking at his desktop file, and I'm going to be using my Skyline Cloud Services account to do that, because that's the way that I use desktop. Yeah. I don't ever open it, except when it's over here, and I need to get on QuickBooks 2004.
And send me a file. That's awesome.
Oh, wait. 2002 through 2009 is what I have on this old computer. It's an XP machine, and I had to blow the dust and the cobwebs off of it and dig through a box of junk, like dig through a box of like Cat5 cable and printer cables and all this shit just to find a keyboard and a mouse that you could plug in so that I could use this stupid machine, but our test worked. Anyway, Max, QVinci is our last one. They do consolidated reporting.
Right.
If you have multiple QuickBooks files, whether it's QBO or desktop, you can put them all together in QVinci and you can get consolidated reporting. And it doesn't matter if there's a combined 300 different account names for your income. You can roll them all up into one income account when you look at those reports, and it's amazing and it's awesome, and everybody needs to check it out. So, Max Walsh.
Max.
How are you?
From Practice Ignition. Max, thanks for coming on tonight. How's it going there?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on.
Well, we're excited to get you here.
Yeah, first time guest, and we really appreciate you taking the time tonight to talk about Practice Ignition. But before we go through some of the questions, can you go ahead and just kind of introduce yourself to the audience and what you do for Practice Ignition and maybe a little bit of your history?
Yeah, absolutely. So I look after Practice Ignition for the U.S. That kind of means I do a wide variety of things, whether it's helping customers get set up on the product, writing content, doing support. It's kind of all over the map, whatever people need help with that day. So if you've got a question about Practice Ignition in the US, you want to get set up with it, you're a user and want to know best practices, how to do a certain thing, I'm the person to talk to.
Nice.
And where are you based? Because it seems like you're in the office, or it looks like you are.
Yes, I'm based in Seattle, so it's
Nice.
4:50 over here.
Nice.
And I thought the better internet connection and the quietness might be the way to go for the interview.
That's awesome. No, good stuff. How many people work there? Is that the main base for the U.S. for PI?
Yeah, we're a little scattered around in the U.S. Our main office is in Sydney. Right now it's just me in Seattle, and then we've got one other guy in Michigan for the U.S.
Oh, where in Michigan?
Ann Arbor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because that's where
Well,
I am. I'm in the mitten.
Oh, nice.
Our mutual friend Katie Peterson really likes Practice Ignition, and there are several other people I know that talk about it often on Twitter and stuff.
I love it. I really like it. And every time I get to go do training to provisors, I tell them about it. I tell them they need to look at it.
Wow.
Thank you, Stacey. Definitely appreciate that. And we've got some actually. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Woody.
No, please. Go ahead.
I was just going to say we've actually got some cool new stuff that's come out in the last couple of weeks even that we can talk about today that might not have seen yet and can even add to that presentation.
Absolutely. We'll do that. So why Practice Ignition? What was the problem it was trying to solve when you guys all created it?
So the company was actually started by the Australian equivalent of a CPA, so they're called chartered accountants over there. And he was running a fully digital practice, everything online, trying to be streamlined and efficient, use as many connected apps as possible. And there wasn't really anything good for client onboarding, for engagement letters, really starting that relationship with the clients. That's kind of where Practice Ignition stepped in. We help accounting firms, bookkeepers, pro advisors create those client agreements really quickly and easily, track the process as opposed to doing it all on Microsoft Word, which is how it was being done before. Allow for, yeah, not great.
I'm like, ugh, hurts me.
No, I agree with you on that. I do that several times a day. Don't worry about it. So the whole idea in PI is that not only are you going to be able to do that process much more efficiently and with tracking and with all these sorts of extra bells and whistles, but then it's going to take data from your contract and feed it into the other systems where you want it to go, like QBO. So we'll actually create your invoices for you automatically in QBO. If you've got payments hooked up to your Practice Ignition account, we'll reconcile those invoices when the money hits your account. So we want to bring that contracting process that's usually very old school and connect it to everything else that you're doing.
Nice.
You guys have reporting?
I have used this, and I really, really love it a lot. I will say that. It's pretty cool.
Thank you.
And what other type of practices could benefit from Practice Ignition?
We've got people all over the map, from sole person practices that are just getting started to practices with hundreds of employees. There's different parts of the application that appeal to those different sizes. For the big practices, it's the fact that every action in the system there's a history. You can see a full audit trail. The fact that it centralizes what might have been engagement letters going out over 20 email addresses into one place. And the reporting that you can do in here, being able to filter and find specific engagements. For those smaller practices, efficiency is, creating an engagement letter in 2 minutes is great no matter what size you are. But for the smaller practices, those tend to be ones that really see a boost in the sales process for them because they don't tend to have as defined a sales process. And having a tool that kind of forces them into doing that, that helps them streamline their pricing so they can price consistently from client to client, which can be a really big issue when practices are just getting started. That'll be one of the bigger benefits that a smaller practice would see out of the product.
I have a question. So would you, because I recommend this to some of my clients actually, I don't think that I know you built it specifically for accounting professionals, but I think that this is a really great app for any kind of consulting company. And I have actually we do a lot of service companies. We don't do them, but you know what I'm trying to say. They're our clients. That just came out really weird and wrong. But what I'm saying is we have a lot of clients who are consultants and they're service providers, and I recommend this to them all day long because I think it does exactly what you said. It starts them and gives them that onboarding process, and it makes it very consistent. I'm a big fan of having things being repeatable and trainable and scalable, and this is one of those apps that does one thing and it kicks ass at it. So I really think, do you guys have other industries using it besides accounting professionals?
We have a few. I would say, the vast majority of the client base is accounting professionals, and that's what we really want to focus on. We're not going to, we're not going to turn anyone away. Anyone that wants to use it, that's great. But we've seen a lot of other apps that try to be everything for everyone, and that can be really hard. And we want to make sure we get the accounting vertical right. We want to deliver the features that accountants, bookkeepers, and pro advisors need. Make sure we absolutely nail that. And at that point, we'll start looking at kind of fleshing out features for other industries. But in the meantime, if the product as is fits for any industry, that's awesome, and definitely come use it.
Cool.
And
I love that.
Max, is there any chance that, I mean, the next question is just to kind of list some of the features that people might not know about Practice Ignition, but I was thinking if you have it up on your computer screen, do you have a computer there? Can you do a demo of the product or high level or something?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get my screen share going.
Yeah, it's a little green icon in the upper, yep.
There we go.
Yep,
Can
cool.
you guys
Nice.
see?
Yeah, I like the color scheme. That's cool.
I love it. It looks so familiar too, that layout.
I can't take the credit for designing that, so no comment. But yeah, it does look good, and everyone's kind of moving towards that menu across the top menu along the side. Makes it easier to learn different apps. But so basically, this is kind of the center console of what you're doing in here. This is going to show you all the agreements as they move through your practice. And that's what I was talking a little bit about with the tracking. You can see at a glance where everybody sits, money coming in, see who's you've sent a proposal to that you might need to follow up on. But really the core of it in here is creating an engagement quickly and easily. So I'm going to come in and add in a client. And then all I have to do to create their letter or their agreement is just start adding in services. So I template all these out. And this kind of comes back to that pricing consistency we were talking about, Stacy. So it'll drop in a description, a price, a billing type, and we'll use this billing type and this price to feed invoices over to QBO if you have that connected to Practice Ignition. So add as many as I need. Now let's say we're going to do a data file cleanup for these guys as well. Then we'll choose an engagement letter template, and we're done. We've written our full engagement letter. 2 minutes. What I always suggest that people actually do is, rather than kind of the old practice of, we're going to have a meeting, I'll send you an engagement letter a day later, a week later if I remember to do it, is actually do it right there in the meeting because it's so quick and it lets you close your sales a lot faster. So we send the proposal off to the client. They get an email with a link to this page. They can accept this on their phone even, so it's all mobile optimized. But it'll lay out, what we're doing, how much it costs, give them that full engagement letter, automatically filling in all the details so you don't have to do any of that. And then they can just type in their name to sign the engagement. Type that in. Oops. Type that in.
Nice, so it's kind of like an e-signature, if you will. Right.
Exactly. And at that point, this is kind of where the QBO integration kicks in. So if there are any upfront invoices, and then this one may be for 2000, as soon as they sign, it'll start kicking those invoices over to QBO. So we can see that we've issued an invoice over to QBO. And pretty shortly, we're going to be releasing payment processing in the US as well. So your client will actually be able to enter their credit card or ACH details as they sign that engagement. And then we'll automate the payment collection process and reconcile the invoices in QBO for you as well.
Nice.
Oh, wow, that'd be cool. So it just goes over as like a paid invoice in undeposited funds when that's done? Or?
Yeah, it goes into undeposited funds in QBO. On the client side, what it's actually going to look like, I'm going to hop over into a different account so I can show you guys what that looks like.
Sure.
Just give me 1 second.
So I have a question. I think one of the last times you and I were emailing, do you have an option yet to set up recurring sales receipts or anything like that? So let's say I have an engagement letter for like a monthly bookkeeping client, I send that out. Do you have that option yet, rather than sending out an invoice, to make it something that's going to just be a recurring transaction?
I'm sorry, so do you mean to actually go in and collect those funds every month, or to just create a recurring transaction in QBO?
Yeah, like to set it up so that the client can create some sort of, you can capture the payment information and create a recurring like sales receipt, and the card gets charged. Do you guys have anything like that?
Yeah, that's actually what I was just about to jump into.
Oh, okay, yay, sorry.
No problem.
I know you guys
So yeah, this is,
have that before, and now I'm really excited about seeing it if you do.
yeah, so we've had this out in Australia for a while, and it's in beta right now in the U.S. So we're getting real close. But basically, on a specific proposal, I can enable payments, and then I can also require them. And if I require them, my client actually can't sign their agreement without putting down their payment details. So if you spend a lot of time chasing debtors, it's great. So I save it, I send it off to them, and then on that page, it changes up a little bit. They now have a field where they can enter their credit card information. And then we take what's in the engagement. So coming back to that QBO integration, I talked about, the billing type and the price are used to dictate when we would create those invoices. Once you have payments attached, any action that would create invoice will also automatically collect the payment from the client. So if you've got monthly charges in here, if you've got upfront charges in here, any different kind of charges, those will all happen automatically. So it's a single touch payment process. They enter their details once, and you don't have to do anything, they don't have to do anything, the money just gets collected on whatever schedule you outlined in the engagement letter.
Nice.
That is cool. Yeah, I like it. And then if you do, when the invoice goes over there, let's say without the payments thing, let's say you receive the payment there, does it update the client record in Practice Ignition, so you know like their balance, their ongoing balance, or if they have one or not?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Like, so if you send the invoice for a client over to QBO and I receive the payment in QBO, does it update the balance in Practice Ignition for that client?
It's just a one-way push towards QBO right now, the idea being that if you have payment set up on an engagement, it's going to auto-collect anything that would be included in here. So you wouldn't need to collect payments from an outside source.
Okay, so you'll just do it here.
Exactly, yeah. So if you wanted to amend the agreement, so if you want to change what you're charging your client, you can do that as well in here. I would just edit the agreement. This is great for managing scope creep or change order, client's business is growing, you want to change up what you're charging them. I can actually change any element of the engagement letter and resubmit it to my client for approval. And when they hit accept again, it'll automatically update all their future payments and invoices.
Nice.
Cool.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's good. But there's no real way to see if you are accepting payments in QBO, there's no way to see the accurate balance for the client.
Right, yeah, so if you had two sources of payment collection, that would be a little more difficult. Now, so you could
you have to choose one or the other. You gotta, if you have PI, you need to do the payments here and not do them in QBO, and really just QBO would just be your dumping ground for, and maybe more reporting and things like that, right?
If you're doing ad hoc stuff where you're maybe billing a once-off thing or an hourly project or something like that, then it might make sense to bill out of QBO. This would just give basically the client the accountant, the pro-advisor, bookkeeper another option for how they might want to bill.
That's cool.
All
right.
And
that makes sense.
Earlier,
people know payments best practice would be do it in PI, not in QBO.
Yeah, and welcome to collect however however it works best for that practice. If they're a practice that bills hourly for everything that they do, then I would probably say stick to QBO. But if they're more on the fixed fee side, then this payment system will probably work better for them.
Nice.
I love it.
Thank you. And Woody, I believe you'd asked a little bit earlier about reporting as well. Was that right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I wanted to see what kind of reports you guys do.
So, Stacy, a new one for you. We just finished building out notifications. So you can tailor and customize notifications in here based on your role in a firm. So, for example, if I'm a salesperson, I might care about email opens, accept page views, but not any of this other stuff. Comments I probably care about. So I can tailor what I'm notified on to what I actually want to know about. And then maybe if I'm the practice manager, if I look after billing and onboarding, I might want to be notified for everything in the practice. I don't really care about comments, email opens. People focusing on sales can do that. But I really care whenever a proposal is accepted so I can process the work. And I care if there is an invoice deployed, and I care if there's a payment collected, because those are things that I need to worry about.
Nice.
So you can tailor the notification and experience to who you are. The other thing that we can do in terms of reporting is run different filters on your proposals. So you can filter by any number of different things in these different states. So maybe if I wanted to identify an upsell opportunity, I might go into my accepted bucket, and let's say, I've noticed that when I do a data file cleanup, my clients usually want to, when I do a data file cleanup for someone 3 months down the road, there's an opportunity to onboard them as a regular bookkeeping client. So I might say, show me everyone with the data file cleanup who accepted their proposal at least 3 months ago, and then run that filter. It's not going to return anything in here because this is a pretty new demo account.
Right. We know about demo
but you
accounts.
can-
They never work the way you want them to. Trust me. Woody and I know very well.
Yeah, but so you can run a report basically on anything that makes up an element of the engagement letter. So rather than just having these, kind of coming back to the example of Word documents, just these PDFs that sit there and don't really have any inputs, you have a huge number of inputs that you can filter by. So it could be, whether or not the clients viewed the email, whether or not you have payments enabled, whether or not they're an ongoing client or a once-off client. So you can use any of those tools to kind of figure out what's going on with the agreements in your firm.
What about team access? I mean, can you invite staff, at the firm, and everybody has their own login? See what people are working on?
Absolutely, yes. You get up to 2 users on the first plan, and if you need to add more users, that's something that you can definitely work out as well. And we've got 2 sets of user permissions in here. So we've got standard users, and they just get the proposals, clients, and dashboard sections. And then we've got admins, which is what I'm logged in as right now. And as an admin, I can also change the services in the firm, and I can change the settings. So I have total control, whereas a standard user can just really create proposals and send them. They can't mess with your presets.
Yeah, I think I saw users there in the services.
Yes, sorry, I hooked through that a little too quickly. Yeah.
Settings,
Understood.
settings, right. Yeah. No, it's cool you put settings all the way at the bottom, and kind of separated. I get that, that makes sense. I bet you guys kind of took a while to decide on that one, because why not put it, right under search?
Yeah, we wanted to kind of keep, you think, or at least our thought process was, dashboard, clients, proposals, you're probably using that every day. Settings, you might go in there once in a while, but it doesn't need to be cluttering up that kind of main menu.
It makes sense. It's good. It's good to put it way down there. Yeah, I like it. Okay, there are your users, right? And okay,
Right.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, and we'll do a whole bunch of other stuff for practices as well. We can actually link this into their website, so you could have a client come along and request a service directly from the website. It's pretty cool. I can show you guys how that works.
Oh yeah, I want to see that. Oh, look at how I just got so excited. I'm like, oh, yes, I want to see this, because this is the one thing that I haven't had a chance to see, so I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, no problem. So basically, right now this only works for fixed fees. So we can do hourly rates on the engagement letter, all that good stuff if you bill hourly. But for this particular feature, it's just fixed right now. So you basically link a specific service to your website. So maybe my bronze, silver, gold package. Then when the client goes onto the site, they can select one of those. They're prompted to enter their contact information, and it'll say, okay, you've selected bronze package. This is what you're getting. And then it'll say, okay, what other things do you want? That's great. You want a bronze package, but do you want receipt bank and some bookkeeping? Then when they go and they hit submit draft proposal, it's actually going to create them as a client in Practice Ignition, and then create a proposal with all the items they selected under that client. So not only are you getting a statement of interest from the client, but it's kicking them off in your contracting system.
Yeah. Yeah. Dawn, do you have any thoughts or questions? Or
I can't really see anything. I guess Stacy said I'm logged in as the show, and I can't.
Well, if I click on your name, it says me. It says Stacy. So I think that you've.
Can I come back in?
Yeah, because I don't think you're
so.
logged in as you. I think you logged in as the show, and so
I
Probably.
can't see anything. I only see you and Woody, which is beautiful.
I think that might
The little
be.
white box as the thing. Okay, I'm gonna go now. I'm coming back in.
All
Come
right,
back.
we'll be here, honey bunny. We'll be here.
Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, we'll be here. So yeah,
Awesome.
I really like this. This is really cool. So you continue. I'm sorry, we didn't interrupt. I told you this. Whatever you were thinking this was going to be like, it's exactly like what was in your head. But probably more of a shit show. I'm just going to say that.
No, not at all. I mean, I watched a few of the episodes. I try to check in whenever I can, and this is kind of in line with what I was expecting.
Okay, cool.
I mean, yeah, no, it's been great so far. I had just said when you were talking to Dawn, basically when the client kind of finishes through this process, when they hit submit, it'll actually create an agreement with everything that they selected for you as a draft, and create a contact with all the information that they put through. So you can go back and see if you have the capacity, give them a call, make sure it's what you want to do. But everything's been kicked off for you in your contracting system.
Also, now it says Dawn. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but we're good.
There. Now I can see.
Back.
I was just looking at Woody and Stacy the whole. I'm like, how do you guys? I kept.
I mean, who wouldn't want to just look at Woody and I? But I mean, I understand.
I'm like, I
can't.
So Woody's like, what do you say? I'm like, I can't. Oh, the only thing I see is this little itty bitty box. I don't know.
Yeah. Google Hangout. Rock on.
I'm so sorry.
No, this is.
No, it's good.
Perfect. Love it.
I'm sorry.
So now you'll be able to watch Max. He's just doing a demo on Practice Ignition. So Max, is there anything coming down the roadmap that you can share? I know typically we can't always share things before they're in the product, but anything cool you guys are working on?
Yeah. Hopefully I don't get in any trouble for revealing anything, but we'll see. So the payments is definitely one of them. That's in beta right now. We've got a couple other things kicking around in beta right now. One is something called the invoice schedule, which basically lets you take the total value of your engagement and distribute it however you want. So
progress increasing? Is that what you're saying to me?
Progress, but fixed from the beginning.
And that's
so basically,
like fine with that.
Yeah, so that's in beta right now. So basically, you take, let's say you've got an agreement worth $1,000, and you've got the 12 billing periods that last for a year. You can take that $1,000 and distribute that money however you want. So I could bill you total flexibility there, and that'll tie in with the payments and the invoicing as well. So it'll do the payment collection on those dates.
Yeah.
Stacey, are you thinking this for like contractor clients of yours then maybe?
Well, not maybe contractors, but I'm thinking about this because I have some some consulting clients who they do that. Basically, they say, here's the estimate, and we're going to bill you X amount at certain periods, and this would be perfect. So this is.
That would be awesome.
It wouldn't. I don't think it would work for contractors yet. I don't think it's for contractors, but I think I have one specific client that this would be perfect for. They do a lot of consulting work for, I don't know, like either architects, or I can't remember what they do. Do you like that? I sort of know what they do. They're consultants, and that's really all that matters. And so they bill very specifically at very specific times for their total contract, and this would be perfect for them. So I'm excited.
Wow, that's awesome.
I'm really excited.
Sorry, Max. Go ahead.
No problem. No, great. And as we're going along, if you guys have questions, comments, stuff like that, please ask, stop, interrupt me. It's totally fine. I'm used to it. So that's another one that we've got in beta at the moment. And then we've got new stuff coming out all the time. So just earlier, or it was last week, we released an expanded invoice view. So on these active proposals, I think we touched on it a little bit. Basically seeing how invoices are being deployed, future invoices, basically centralizing all those. So you can see basically the progress billing that you've done so far, all that kind of stuff. And then the next one that we're pretty excited about is we're going to give the dashboard a little bit of a facelift. This is kind of from an earlier version of the product. It's still giving a ton of useful information. But now with those filters, we've got all this data that you can see when you run these reports, and we want to surface a little more of that data for you. So basically want to make this go a little more in depth. And that's what we've got in terms of what's in beta right now and what's on the roadmap that I can talk about.
I really like that.
Nice. That is cool.
Oh, I really like that, like set fee stuff.
Are you guys going to be at QuickBooks Connect?
We absolutely will. We were there last year. We had a great experience. We wore the space suits, which we do at all the conferences, and we'll be back at QuickBooks Connect in the space suits again.
That's
So
awesome.
definitely looking forward to that. Are all of you going to be attending?
Yeah, I'll be there.
I think so. Yeah.
No, Woody will be there. Woody doesn't think so. Woody will be there. Like,
Yeah, I think I'll be there.
Woody, you kind of have to be there. So don't be all like, maybe. You got to be there.
I'll be there. You said you have something on here for more just discussion, value pricing fixed fees, but I'm not sure if that was a new feature, or if you already explained it when you're saying it works best for on fixed fee engagements in general.
Oh, no. So, yeah, there are a couple things that we can talk about on that. It was actually, we're doing some really exciting stuff with Intuit down in Australia that might be of interest for the QBO show listeners. Let me pop this up over here. So QuickBooks AU, us and a company called Fathom actually put together a little bit of a roadshow to help practices.
Oh, nice. I've heard great things about
Fathom is like my favorite reporting app. I just want to say that is my favorite reporting app right now. Love it. Awesome.
Yeah, they're great guys. They have an awesome product. But basically, we put this roadshow together with them, with Intuit AU and Fathom, because, and this is something that maybe down the road we'll replicate in the U.S. But for people in the U.S., they can actually access all the content, all the training videos, all the tools online for free. So I thought it could be useful for everyone. Basically, what we've seen, a lot of conferences, a lot of presentations, there's a lot of people saying, you need to move to value pricing. This is why value pricing is good. This is how it can help your business. But there are less tools out there to really say step by step, okay, this is step 1, step 2, here's a worksheet, here's the inputs you need to actually go from billing hourly to billing on a fixed fee basis. And that can be really scary. It can be a huge jump for a lot of practices. So we put together a bunch of videos, a bunch of case studies, and then actually an Excel worksheet that you can download for free on here. Basically, you plug in what you charge per hour for different services, you plug in your overhead, plug in all the inputs for your practice, and helps you spit out a rough estimate of fixed fee prices. So you can start working on that. It's just a lot of cool content that people might want to check out.
I love that.
Do you know Madeline Reeves or Maddie Reeves?
Yep.
Yeah. She's up in that area too of the country, but she was emailing me recently about Fathom, and so that's really exciting. You guys that's a really cool partnership. QBO, PI, and Fathom. That's really neat.
Yeah, doing some really interesting stuff.
I get that.
And again,
I get that.
Australia is a little far to go to attend any of these sessions, but yeah,
sure.
Anyone who's listening can access all the content for free on here.
You know what?
And what's the website again?
26-hour flight from Michigan. I could do it.
That's pretty good. The last time I went down there, it took me 31 hours with layovers to get down to Sydney. But I was going from the East Coast.
Oh, yeah. That's tough.
Yeah, it was a long couple of days. And the website's just intuitglobal.com/au/firm of the future.
Nice.
Nice. I think you had another thing. Other than anything else you want to cover, but something on sales processes for accountants. But I don't know if you already did that.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's just when I was talking to Stacy before coming on the show, just exchanged a couple of emails about topics that we could talk about. I love talking about practice ignition, so I could do demos and talk about PI all day. And wanted to mention that value pricing one as well. But one thing I was curious if you guys had any thoughts about, and something that we like to talk a lot about here at PI, because we are a bit of a sales tool, is sales processes for accountants, and anything that you recommend to your listeners or that you think people should know, because we get a lot of questions. How do I build out my sales process? What's the best way to do that?
So
that could be an interesting topic.
I will say this, and I believe Dawn will probably agree with me. What we do is we get paid pretty much first before we do anything. And I highly recommend doing that. What we generally do is regardless of what we're doing, if it's like a cleanup, we give them an estimate. I'm not going to give them a flat fee for that because that's a rabbit hole that you never really know. So I will give them an estimate, and I will require 50% of the low end of that estimate before we start work. And I don't send out invoices. So we take a credit card authorization and we bill the card, and it's in our engagement letter that we will bill the card, the 50% of the low end of the engagement, and then we will bill the remainder of the job when we're done. The only thing that we generally send out invoices for is our quick review process, and that sort of starts our relationship with the client, because usually if they don't pay it or they take a long time to pay it, then it's probably not a client that we want to work with anyway. So that's really the only time that we do invoices. Every other time we are getting an authorization to charge the card, and we are in control of when we do the billing. We don't wait to get paid. So I would recommend that to everybody.
Do you get any pushback from your clients, or how do you?
Nope.
I'm also just asking as like the devil's advocate standpoint.
No, and I appreciate that. So the ones that we get pushback from are generally the ones that we probably are not going to want to work with. So they're the ones that are, we charge $300 for our quick review, and we send the invoice first. So we need the engagement letter signed, we need the invoice paid, and we also, and my cat is stepping on my keyboard, sorry. So we need the invoice paid, we need the engagement letter signed, and then we need access to the QuickBooks data, whether it's desktop or QBO. And if we get any pushback, that we know that when we're done with that, that's probably not a client that we want to pursue as a monthly bookkeeping client. We had one who, after we sent the invoice and the engagement letter, he came back and asked us if we could bill him 50% for the $300. No, that's not how this works. Explained it really very clearly on the phone. You were all for it. So that quick review process is really our vetting process. So we don't get a lot of pushback at all. And if we do, then that's not a client that we will definitely think twice about taking that client on as a long-term monthly client.
That's awesome. That's actually kind of almost word for word what we would recommend people to do, and something that you can do all those tasks. Shameless plug for a second, but you can do all those from the engagement letter to the progress bill to the payment collection right here in PI.
Nice.
Nice. That is awesome.
And Dawn, did you have any questions about? I know you had some technical issues earlier, but was there anything that you wanted to ask about or discuss or anything like that?
No, but I've listened to you talk, and you sound very intelligent and wonderful. I have to watch the first part of the recording so I can see it. So that's on me.
Thank you.
I apologize.
No problem. Thank you for the compliment.
Well, I was tweeting with Tom, so he knows I really apologize for that. But I will watch it. I will watch it, and I will have questions potentially.
Well, feel free after the show to reach out if you have anything you want to go over. I'd be happy to talk to you about it.
Cool.
Awesome. And and thanks. Oh, go ahead, Max.
No. Sorry. I was going to just ask if you had anything you wanted to cover off, because we're getting close to 8:30.
No, I appreciate you taking the time tonight. It's 5:24 your time zone. So thanks for coming on and explaining and showing too. The demo was really cool to see. Practice Ignition in action. Again, you guys have a lot of fans out there that are using the product, so I think this really helped make it very clear of the audience and what it does.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And look forward to talking to you guys again soon.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
All right, Max, thanks again. Have a great night.
You too.
Thanks, Max.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Nice. That was cool. I really like PI because, KD always talks about it, and so does Jan Huego. I always say her last name wrong. I apologize, Jan. But Jazz Fun. She's out on Twitter. So I think she's a big fan, and then there's several other people that I just know that use it a lot. So that's really cool. I did not know, Stacy, that you do promote it a lot to your consulting clients. So that's good to know. Yep. Any anything else? I mean, I don't really want to talk anymore. You guys got anything you guys got anything else you wanna
I feel like I'm done.
talk about
I'm
or
done
you got
putting
5 minutes
words
to go?
out of my mouth. I'm done with that. I'm all finished.
We do appreciate our sponsors. Thanks so much to Avalara, T-Sheets, Fundera, Skyline Cloud Services, QVinci, and I know I'm forgetting one.
Everyone.
I'm forgetting one. Yeah,
Who's
Avalara.
there? Woody.
I think it's Avalara. Yeah. Skyline, QVinci, Fundera, T-Sheets, Avalara, which are very popular apps.
Yeah.
Anyway,
There's a cat.
I would argue most people are using that.
There's a cat. That's Yoda. That orange cat, that is Yoda. He's kind of a jerk. I'm not gonna lie.
You know what? It's probably fair though. If we were to all be cats, it's probably fair.
I'm just saying.
Aren't you getting?
Well, we did. We got. See, so I'm really not good at cats. So we got one, and I brought it home, and we needed an outdoor cat to take care of the pack rats because up here there's a lot of pack rats. So you get a cat, and that's typically what it is. And they're doing their hunter instinct thing. It's like, figure what they were bred to do, and you have food and water and a place to sleep, but they're out there hunting at night and stuff. And it just seemed like in my mind just a really cool thing or approach to this. So I bring home the first cat, and I put the carrier down, and I just open up the door, figuring he'll just come out, say hi, and show him around the property. But it's not a dog, so he just walks out of the carrier and just takes off into the woods, and he's been gone ever since, which is not good. That usually means it usually means you've been eaten. So it's very sad. And now sometimes they do go away.
It's very sad. It is a sad thing.
Sometimes they do go away for 3 days and then they come back. So we have food and water left out in school. So then Nick went out and got another one, and then we have it set up in a outside room with litter box, food, water, and its place to sleep, just to get it used to the property. And then we start opening the door and letting it out, and then it knows it's its home. However, it's been like 2 days, and it just is really depressed. So I think we have to start with a kitten. I just don't know how to figure out this cat thing. So we're going to give the second cat, obviously more time, and we can't have them inside because the kids are all allergic. So, they have to be outdoors. So these are cats, that people just are giving away or they're moving or something. So we're trying to provide a home, but it is an outdoor life. You're basically a barn cat, which actually is a real thing. I mean, it's not like all cats have to live inside.
No, they don't.
And they want to hunt. So, but I'm hoping this cat will turn the corner and just be excited and start to be a cat and do its thing. Probably give it a couple more days where we just open the door during the day and see if it comes out. But right now it's just hanging, and it does not want to be here. And so,
you have to,
I don't really have a solution. I'm kind of lost about cats.
That's the thing. Like, make sure that there is a ton of food there available for it, and it'll just kind of keep.
They can smell it, man. I mean, they should be able to smell it.
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or get like 5, Woody. I mean, your percentage of success will go up if you get more, and maybe one will stay.
It's been a frustrating experience, yeah, man. Because I want them to enjoy their last, 10 years, 5 years, and I want them to be able to hunt and do all the fun stuff. But the problem is, that's what happens out here. The coyotes and stuff. They're looking. They're always on the hunt for cats, right? Bobcats. So you can't just leave the property and go out and hang out somewhere if you're a cat.
They're pretty busy.
You just can't be doing that because you're going to get in trouble. So I'm hoping that maybe another house in the neighborhood kind of took it in, and so. But you never know. It's so sad. But we're trying to make it work.
It'll work out. It'll work out.
No, it will. It'll be cool because our dog won't chase anything, and he's old, and
send Isaac out there.
You can't. I mean, you can't. Where we are is you can't have him go out like at dusk without anybody because of the javelina. You got rattlesnakes sunning themselves. You have coyotes. You got bobcats. It's pretty wild actually.
Read that show.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
But we love the place. It's very unique, and it's a really cool home. We're really thrilled with it. So enjoying that.
Nice.
I got
I'm
my
very happy for
driver's
you.
license, temporary one. Yep, thank you, Stace. I got my temporary license soon. I'll get the emissions and then get the actual registration and get my Arizona plates. Then it'll be real, be realer.
Nice. It'll be realer, more realer.
Yep. Yep.
Well, you can't
So yeah,
knock being more
it's only
realer.
been 2 weeks, right? It's only been 2 weeks. We're actually just cruising, man. This relocation thing. It's
Yeah.
not easy. Not easy.
Well, what are you
Yeah.
gonna do? You know, you'll make it work.
Yeah, it's gonna work. So I'm really pulling for the cats, man. We're hoping that like my dream is that they like the one comes back and he just found a good place to hide and then he'll befriend this other one we got and they'll be buddies and then they'll just like tag team pack rat hunt.
Maybe they're at a conference, Woody. Maybe there's a cat and they're
That's
all
very good.
right.
I don't know
I
if it
know.
works out like
Oh,
that.
man.
How do we conquer this rat pack thing? And they're like that diagram up there, dead rat pack. Just saying, it'd be real.
Cool.
All right,
Nice.
All right.
buddy.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. It's 5:31.
Oh, we have a good
Pacific.
show next week. Dawn, do you want to talk? It's you
we
hooked us
got?
up with this awesome guest, so I
Yeah,
want
Dawn.
to. Yeah.
Who's this?
Sure. Yeah, we're gonna bring on Amy Hosney from Criminal Investigation. She's been historically in the
Oh,
IRS
nice. That'll be fun.
and she's doing some what they call public relations, which she'll explain what that means.
Yeah.
And so she and I had lunch last week, and Stacey and I have been hammering back and forth about getting her on the show, and she's a really great person, and it's going to be really good. So, you want to learn about live cases and things that are going on, things that are public, and she's going to share a lot of stuff, and she carries a gun and a badge, and I want to be her, and she's adorable.
Nice.
And it'll be really good.
You should wear your badge. Hopefully you'll wear your badge for that show.
I think I'm gonna. You know what? What are they gonna do? Arrest me, Woody? You know what I mean?
They give you
That's
badge.
already happened. I don't even care. I mean, that's off my bucket
I
list.
don't care. They
But I
don't
think
care.
it's gonna be
They
really
don't care. Bigger fish to fry.
He's fabulous. So it's gonna be great. Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Well, I just want to thank everybody for watching tonight and hanging with us all these years, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll
Looking
be
forward
here.
to that one.
Peace
All
out.
right. Hopefully the cats came back. They'll all be buddies. All right. We'll see you then. Take care.
Bye.